Hi, my name is Nairouz, and welcome to the Joie de Vivre podcast, where we talk about both mental and emotional health. Today, with me, I have Adegboye, who is an author, a speaker, and a coach. Abby and I will be focused today on self growth and best practices to help you achieve better goals. Thank you for joining me, Abby. It's a great pleasure having you here.
Thanks, Nairouz. Thanks for inviting me. I'm so glad
Thank you. It's a pleasure. So, Abby, let's start first by giving us a little bit more information about yourself.
Oh, I am Abby. Adegboye, as you mentioned, I am director at AfriLead Academy, where we train the next generation of leaders to be compassionate, to be competent, and to have character in order to deliver a better future for us.
Beautiful. We need a lot of people like you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So, Abby, can you tell us what's self-growth to start with and what makes it important in our lives?
Self-growth is the ability to improve. If we're going to put growth in one word, it is improvement. It is moving from one level of understanding, one level of knowledge, one level of competence to a higher level. It is progressive, right? Growth is progressive. So is self-growth. But that is the ability for you as a person to take in the knowledge, the skill, and to build it, to build on what you know, to build on what you can do, so that where you are today is not the same place we'll find you tomorrow. You've grown, you've helped yourself to get better.
You improved.
Exactly, improved. You've gotten better, you've gotten smarter, you've gotten stronger. The more knowledge you have, the more we expect of you, right?
Of course.
Of course. That self-growth is knowledge.
And what's beautiful about it, and mostly unique, is that it never stops.
No, it never stops.
It's an ongoing process. Beautiful. And so tell us about your daily motivation. What helps you keeping up your, fuel every day to actually working on yourself, improving yourself, and not only that, impacting other people's lives to do the same thing.
I am driven by my passion, but I must tell you, it's not every day I feel like it. There are times that life just throws you curveballs or disappointment, and you are hurt and broken and like just dejected, feeling that you can't go on. But when you consider what your passion is, what you actually live for, you begin to think, surely there's one other youth out there I can reach. For me, it's youth. It's training the next generation of leaders. It's impacting them in such a way that those that are going the wrong way turn around and begin to do right. Or those that think, it doesn't matter, begin to think, perhaps it matters. So that gives me the motivation to pick up and go again, even when life throws curveballs or when I'm disappointed. So you do have to find that kernel, that passion, your joy. It's kind of like your podcast, right?
I know. I mean, you need to connect with the inner voice and just like let it free, So that brings us to the online space, basically, where we decide that we wanted to grow or we want to get better in certain things, certain aspects of our lives. And now we need to hunt the right information, right? So we need to get on a program or watch like a YouTube, podcast or any of this, kind of like research. And the thing is, it gets confusing most of the times because we have tons of information available and it's for free, which is beautiful because our parents had to fight and spend so many hours in the libraries and so on, so they can actually get, a small amount of information. So how can we filter, what's out there? What are the best ways to pick the right information that will help us along the process?
As I mentioned, the bedrock of self-growth is knowledge. And it's a beautiful thing today, the liberalization of knowledge, of education, in that there is nobody, nothing you want to be. Well, maybe not a surgeon.
There's some limits.
What you want to be, right? You can find online. You can find in free spaces online. There are free libraries, and barring that, there is always a search engine, Google or YouTube, but name it.
Yeah.
Knowledge is just abundant.
Everywhere. Correct.
But even as we live in the age of knowledge, we also live in the age of confusion. We live in the age of fake news and skewed ideologies and people self-serving in the kind of information that they give you. I'm selling this, therefore that is bad.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you do need to filter. And one of your first filters is your personality. How does this land in your heart? How does it mesh with who you are? Not everyone is your teacher. Not everyone is your guru. You would not, not every voice stings your ears. So you definitely need to filter by what resonates with you. But also, one or two or three to balance opinions. As I said, in today's market, some just tell blatant lies to oil their own pockets and to pander to their own egos. So you do need to be able to filter out by balancing opinions one to another. And find reputable sources. That's number 3. Reputable sources. Not every source is believable.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
It's like if you're on WhatsApp for a minute, you would know that fake news travels so fast around there.
Yeah, AKA social media.
Times, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Times. But you find that it's a lie. Just plug it in to any of those fact checker sites, and you'll find that it is fake news.
Yeah.
Those are things that, as a consumer of knowledge in today's world, you really have to do your homework. Yes, it's abundant, it's out there, but you can't consume everything.
Yes. And because it's so easy to believe in certain things, especially with technology and how we can make things perfect, and and people get stuck in being more competitive and following the trend than actually stay focused on yourself and becoming better every day.
Exactly. Move yourself in the world wide web.
I know, which is so easy, and so you have to stay focused on the goal. So basically, let's see, we have all the information we need, and we are ready to start continue a growth adventure or journey, which is, as we mentioned earlier, ongoing. It takes courage to take action, because let's see, for instance, I learned that I can work on, my resilience. I can get stronger emotionally and mentally. But then the question is, how can I do that? And how can I actually take action? Which is very important, because knowing something is not doing it. So how there is a gap, right? So how to close that gap and actually go from knowing to doing, in a short time, or at least, try getting there.
I think you've said one critical thing: in a short time. One of the keys that we have to help ourselves to do is give yourself as short a time as possible to jump. Otherwise, you will not.
Yeah.
You start paralysis of analysis, fright, fear, intimidation, name it. It would bombard you if you give yourself so long a time to implement what you're learning. As you learn, implement. As you learn, implement. Do it in such little bits that you're growing, but you're not aware of it. Yeah. So that it's not creating that fear. It's not creating that intimidation. Because after all, you only took a little step.
Yeah. Smaller step is easier than a bigger one. Baby steps.
Baby steps. Yes, baby steps. So first is short time. Second is baby steps. Third is find a partner if you can. One of the most effective tools when we say you want to lose weight is having a companion, an accountability partner, someone that is either also trying to lose weight but will hold you accountable, or you make a competition out of it, or you make just help me be strong. Any way it works for you. Again, back to who you are. Don't lose yourself in this way.
Connect with yourself.
What works for you, but connect with like-minded people who are taking a similar journey so that you can strengthen one another, you can hold one another accountable, you can be there for one another. Because it does matter. It does matter. You can grow together. Where you don't have it, again, where you don't have it locally, you could have it globally, online or virtually. And that way you're strengthened.
Yeah, there's so many ways nowadays. If you don't find someone in your environment, you can always start like an online group and gather similar-minded people and start from there. Even if it's one person or two people, it doesn't matter, as long as you have kind of similar goals. And so you mentioned something about not giving yourself long time to think, because we tend to think so much, and we create like a limited thoughts that actually get us stuck before even like getting started, before even making that move.
I know. And the more you think about it, the more you convince yourself it's a bad idea.
Yes, and it's so true, and it's so easy, and sometimes it's not just you, it's your environment. Like pitching an idea to a family member who loves you and wants to protect you is always going to tell you no, because they don't want you to take risks. They want you to just stay closer and be safe. And same with your mind. Your mind's job is to keep you safe. So basically, every time you even dare to think about something new, the first thing is like all the obstacles that might happen during that process, right? So limited thinking is a crucial thing. A lot of people are dealing with that in daily basis, and like it's sometimes it's like it's so strong to the point that even if you have all the motivation, even if you have all the fuel to do what you want to do, what you're passionate about, that blockage is still there, and it's just like it doesn't let you do anything pretty much. And so what are some of the tricks we can use with our like inner voice to or ourselves to kind of be convinced and just take the action, just put those thoughts aside and just do it?
I'll tell you a story.
I love stories.
About 2010, I had gotten burnt out. I was an academic at that time. I was just tired of the whole thing. And I wanted a change, but I had 2 kids, and I'm like, so what am I now going to do? How am I going to feed my kids? These thoughts, they come.
Yeah, of course.
Most of them responsible, but at the same time, not precluding what your dreams or visions are. Yeah. Or when you look at them, they look as if they're limited. But I had been in technology space earlier in my career. And I thought, if I had any chance anywhere, that would be the space that had the most options for me. And so I began to take classes. But every time you take a class, the person goes, oh, you really have to know this to get an interview. Oh, you have to know that to get an interview. And that encouragement also just piles on to the insecurities that are on the ground. Eventually, I found a friend who said, all of these courses that you're taking, you really don't need them to get into that space. You need this skill set, communication, ability to write, writing, speaking, practice. When you do speak, you articulate in such a way that people understand what you're saying. And just a fair knowledge of technology. You already have what you need to succeed in this space. Eventually, I had to listen to her because my heart yearning continued, right? And I took that leap. Did I land on my feet first round? No, I didn't. But having taken that leap, I had to make it, fake it till I made it.
I mean, sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to. And that's why I said, give yourself as short a time as possible to make that change. Then take the small step. This is not flying blind. I took classes. You can take classes. The knowledge is out there for everybody to see. So get the knowledge you need to not fail or to not fail too badly. Because failure again is an opportunity to learn.
Yeah, of course. It's part of the success, process is to actually fail and learn from that.
Exactly. So some people will tell you that get in there and then begin the fails and keep moving forward. Because the funny thing is, until you get in there, you really don't know the lay of the land. Someone can tell you, oh, and then you do this, and then you do that. But until you are doing it,
I know.
Oh, yeah, until you are doing it, because we are all unique.
It's true, in our own ways.
So to your question that how do you conquer the limiting feelings? How do you conquer the fear? You can conquer only by doing. If you need someone to give you a swift kick in the behind, talk to the person you know will give you that so you can get out of your comfort zone. If you need affirmations, then get those and begin to talk yourself up. As in, oh gosh, you could do this, you could do this. I remember one of the things also at that time was I wanted to move. I wanted a change of environment because several negative things had happened in my current environment, and those contributed to the limiting feelings. And my mother said, what are you still doing there? You can make friends anywhere. And just that off chance comment, it builds me up to where I knew that wherever I went, I'll be all right.
Sure.
So those are things you want to cultivate. Move away from people who are talking you down or speaking negativity to you, because the direction of growth, your growth trajectory collides with theirs.
Yeah.
You're not going in the same direction, but you need to get with people whom you're going in the same direction so that one would encourage the other, take a step a little bit, but you're moving in the right direction.
Because eventually, even if you choose not to listen to certain negative, thoughts or, thoughts, you're still going to end up to be somehow you're going to end up in the wrong place. So you have to associate yourself with the right people, so you can actually move forward in a high speed.
Yes.
And so
progress.
Yeah.
You track your progress. You've done this, then the next step, then the next step. One of the beautiful things is you're not the first to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put your unique spin on it, but you're not the first to do it. So find someone who's done it before, and then you can follow in those footprints so that you know whether you're tracking right or wrong. Yeah. The worst thing would be if you think you're making progress and you're actually regressing, right?
Yes. And it happens sometimes.
You don't want to be in those shoes. So there are people that have done it before you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Watch and learn. Learn and do.
Yes. And that's how I think human nature, I think that's how we learn growing up, by observation and then trying to find our own way of doing it, And so you mentioned something about stepping out of your comfort zone, which is a huge deal for so many people, especially the personality, whether you're introverted, extroverted, and how how strong you think, because we all have potential, we all have strength within us, but how strong you think, you are, to make that move. And so we agree we need to improve our strength, but also try to step away a little bit from our comfort zone. How scary can that be for someone who's never done it before, or not a big fan of doing it?
I think it depends on what you want to do, right?
Yes,
It
yes.
depends on what you want to do. And that's why we mentioned earlier about taking small steps.
Mhm.
Small steps. You want to be on a global stage. Don't go from being a wallflower to just stepping on the stage and say, "Here I am." You might disintegrate into a puddle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course. You need to stay within your strength zone. Yeah,
And
very
then
much.
begin to work your way gradually out of it.
Mhm.
First you might start by stop hugging the wall, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hi to two people,
Mhm.
then two others, and celebrate the win. I mean, imagine I spoke to 6 people today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Your journey, for instance, this podcast is a journey. We're all in this world to take journeys, different journeys. My journey back to writing is a journey. My journey to writing, oh my gosh.
I know. And you mentioned celebrate, which is beautiful, because I always think that, and so many people, agree to that, we need to always be gentle with ourselves, and tell ourselves that we are, trying, and we're trying to do the right things, and we're working so hard to achieve certain goals, and that's not something to just like, ignore. We have to acknowledge that with ourselves every day, and give ourselves that, like, pet,
Yes, yes.
so here's the thing. We all want to, get better, change, improve, grow, but we also have responsibilities, daily routines and activities, and some people are responsible for kids, for their families. We have jobs, we have so much going on in our lives, that sometimes the day goes by and we don't have a moment to breathe.
Mhm.
And so self-growth is an ongoing process, but that requires you to spend some time on yourself, right? And or serving others, right? So you grow and you get better, and you help other people grow with you and get better. Um, it requires, dedication and hard work. So how can we keep that balance? How can we focus on ourselves on daily basis, and improving in certain areas and helping others improve, while we are navigating through our daily routines at the same time?
I think you do have to devote some time to you. So that could be 10% of your time, of your day, or it could be even less, an hour a day. An hour a day is less than 10% of your day, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But that hour, if you make it sacrosanct, nobody disturb you, nobody is allowed to just, even your mind, you're not worrying about them while they're
Yeah.
not there. Because the funny thing is, when you consider how often we're interrupted, some of it is just in our minds. If you keep worrying about that child, or you keep worrying about that job, but you are not giving yourself the time to grow.
Yeah.
So if you do decide on an hour, make it an hour for your own self-growth.
Yeah.
Focus on the activities that will facilitate that growth.
Yeah.
There are writers, bestsellers today, that they woke up in the morning and just wrote before everybody else woke up. These people put me to shame, to shame, to shame.
Wow.
You
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
why? Because you find they had five kids. You have 5 kids, and you're still a best-selling author.
That's amazing. I know.
It is amazing.
I
But
know.
all it is that devotion to setting that time apart and doing what that time apart is supposed to do.
Yeah. And just do it. Make it simple.
Make it simple. This is my hour to work on my money. This is my hour to work on my craft. This is my hour to work on. And in that hour, you work on it because consistency compounds. And that's one of what John Maxwell says, right? Consistency compounds.
Yeah.
In other words, a little there, a little there, a little, before you know it, it's done.
Yeah, and it's big. Yeah.
To write 365,000 words or however many, you just need that 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000 a day.
Mm-hmm. And before you know it, you're done.
That's it.
And you're good to go. And you're like, oh my God, how did I do this? I was actually watching a psychology podcast that was talking about getting the job done, pretty much what we're covering right now. And so this psychologist was saying that all what we need to do is, as we mentioned, like consistency and making it fun. So let's say I'm taking an hour for myself a day and I wanted to learn and grow during the hour. I can put on music in there during that process. I can make it a fun adventure so I don't feel like I'm forced to do it. This is something that will help me and that will help others. So I should just like do it, you know, in a simple way and just like make it fun, you know, and that way you're going to actually not even feel the pressure, like, you know, you're not going to feel that pressure that, oh, I need to be, because we're all tired of like, we have to do things on certain ways. And, you know, we just want to be like ourselves, right? We just want to do things naturally. And so if you make it that way, if you go with that mindset that this is going to be a fun process, I'm going to grow, I'm going to learn new stuff, I'm going to be better, I'm going to be, you know, impacting, you know, my family, my, you know, my people around me. So I think you will have more, you know, natural motivation, you know, and fuel to just do it pretty much. So, so growing up, I heard this sentence that stuck in my mind, and I'm still hearing it until today, that people don't change. And so when we talk about change, I mean, we can talk about, you know, probably like next year, right? And so, and I always thought to myself, even when I was a little girl, because I have such a crazy curiosity, I always wanted to know everything until today. And so I always thought to myself, why people think that we cannot change, because I saw people growing and changing and doing great stuff, you know, starting from my family members to my friends to like people in my environment. And trying to like understand why most of the people think like that also brought me to another question: why I'm meeting less people who are actually talking about changing and getting better, and more people who are just accepting the way their life is and just thinking that they're just like this because of I'm not lucky, or, you know, I don't think I'm meant for this, or, you know, I don't have the right, you know, tools to do whatever I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So what side you stand in, and also why we're seeing more people like being afraid of growing, being afraid of changing, being afraid of like getting better.
What side do I stand on? Yes and no. We started our discussion today by talking about knowledge is abundant and knowledge is the foundation of self-growth. People don't change if they don't learn.
Yeah, indeed.
People could grow, and not everyone grown physically has grown mentally or emotionally or any other way.
Yeah, it's true.
Without knowledge, there is no growth. So when we talk about people don't change, it means they have refused to learn new things or even old things.
It's true.
You know that you don't use it or lose it. Yeah. So if you choose not to use it, you're gonna lose it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a waste.
Don't change. It could be true if they choose not to learn. However, for those that learn, there is
Mhm.
tremendous opportunity for change. There is tremendous opportunity for growth.
Mhm.
And when you limit yourself by saying, oh, I'm in the wrong country, or oh, I'm in the wrong family, or oh, I'm the wrong person, you are negating your growth process.
Stopping it right there.
Don't think like that. If you're intimidated, learn your way through it.
Yeah.
If you're handicapped, learn your way through it. This past week, we just finished the Paralympics.
Yeah.
Where people 10 years ago would not dream of competing on a global stage with their disabilities.
Correct. Yeah, of course.
They're out there today, outshining even people with all abilities.
Yeah, I mean, looking back to history, all the great stuff and things that humans, accomplished, and there was even no technology back then. And you're like, oh my God, how? I mean, it's mesmerizing.
Yes. So don't look at it that way. What can you do with what you have where you are?
And I just want to make it clear to the audience, we're not talking about changing your identity or who you are. We're just talking about improving yourself, improving your, qualities and working on, your bad habits and so on. So we're not going to change our languages or our character or any of that. And I think that's some people are actually afraid of like losing themselves in the process.
Mhm.
But it's the truth is that you actually keep yourself and you just like make it like more like beautiful every day. You nurture yourself. I always think about it like myself is a baby. I have to give it milk every day, like wash it, clean it, and so it can grow and get better and learn new things and achieve new things. And that's pretty much it. So
yeah, it is a stronger you, a healthier you, a fully accomplished you, and you can't but love that you. Then you're like, why did I wait this long to become this person?
exactly. I mean, time pass by, and you just find yourself, um, you know, things like go by so fast, and you're like, oh, I need to catch up on this, and I've been trying to do this for the past 2 years, and you're like, I thought I wanted to do that yesterday. It's so interesting how time goes so fast. Um, you mentioned something about the environment where you pretty much need to not to listen to certain people and just stay focused. um, Sometimes it's hard to do it when it comes to like your loved ones and people who are so close to you. So how, like, what will be like a final advice to give the audience when it comes to um, talking to these people, because you care for them, you cannot just shut them off. So what's a better approach in just letting them know in a kind way that this is what you're working on, and they need to respect it, create that boundary type thing.
I was lucky in that after I graduated college, I traveled to the US. But I remember taking that photograph even before the travel. The decision to travel was mine. I wasn't pressured by my parents. In fact, left to them, my mother, I would have stayed home.
Oh,
My father was just, whatever you want to do. And he said he would support me. And so the decision was mine. But I remember taking that photograph and I titled it Arrival 22. That was
yeah.
for me a coming of age. When you become an adult, you do have to take responsibility for your life and your life choices. When you make those choices, make them of growth, not of retardation, not of excuses, and not of tailoring yourself to the generation before just because it's a comfortable life. You need to become responsible for yourself in such a way that you make progress daily by growing stronger, by growing more knowledgeable, by growing more mature, so that these parents, these dependents are truly being strengthened by you, not that you're all co-enablers.
So you have to like pretty much be responsible and or hold yourself accountable for your own growth and be responsible for your actions as you move. And also I always think about like love yourself, that's part of like that's a big part of the process, because when you love something or someone, you do it, when you do the work, you do it with pleasure versus with
You do.
obligation. So when you love yourself, or like love yourself more if you already do, it helps, it helps give you.
Oh, that's it. Love yourself enough to grow.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So it's a pleasure to have you here today, Abby. Thank you so much for your time and all this amazing information you shared with us today. Until then, stay healthy and happy, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nairouz.
Have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you.